Well, dear friends, let me show you a very interesting feature. Now, here's a situation where a person, well, it seems like they're not doing anything, maybe just walking around, right? Or, well, let's take, for example, a situation where someone is walking, and it seems like they're just walking, their legs seem to be working. However, after that, their head or neck hurts, or their shoulder joint starts to ache. So, what connection could there possibly be between walking and pain in the neck or shoulder? It seems like there isn't any, right? At first glance. And even at second glance, it seems like there's no connection, but there actually is, and that's the kind of connection we're talking about. Look, I have arms. And when one arm starts to change its position, it turns out that the hip is right here, and the arm is next to the hip. And now the arm starts moving out to the side. The wall, it's getting closer here, towards the wall, and my center of gravity starts shifting onto my right leg. So, for example, here's my left arm, here's my right arm, and I press my left arm against my hip. I place my right arm closer to the wall, right? So that it's closer to the wall and farther from my hip. In this position, now I can stand on my right leg, I can lift my left leg, and stand on my right. Without changing the position of my arms, the left is pressed, the right is here. If I start lifting my right leg now, start lifting my right leg without changing the position of my arms, it becomes quite difficult for me to stand. That is, I start to lose my balance, so I have to balance myself just to lift my leg. And if I try to move it, for example, up and down, it becomes even harder for me to keep my balance. And if, in this position, I now try to move it forward or backward, yes, I lose my balance even more. So if during a step this kind of movement happens, look, my arm starts to move to the side, and this one stays close to my body. Do you see what's happening with my shoulders? This left shoulder is now up, and the right one is down. And my head should always stay in such a way that my eyes are parallel to the floor. That's why my head is in this position. But if I stand up straight now, do you see what it did? This is the position. It's as if I tilted my head over here right now. At the moment of the step, I made this kind of tilt, but it's like I didn't actually tilt it, and the person doesn't feel like they've tilted their head. But in fact, they stepped here, right? This kind of tilt happened here. So this distance you see between the ear and the shoulder, and here as well, between the ear and the shoulder. It's like tilting your head this way. So I took one step like this, then I took a second step like this, over here. And what did I do here? Here, I tilted my head this way. Now, yes, so this is the opposite situation. So my hand ended up here and this one here, so my head tilted in this direction. And in this way, each step, 1, 2. So basically you see it works, but it's not noticeable. It's not really a tilt of the head, right? A tilt of the head would be like that, but it's the same thing, but this tilt is also compensated by a backward bend at the waist. So you're simultaneously tilting in two directions so that your head stays straight. And in this way, with each step, you go 1, 2, 1, 2. It's not even 1, 2. It's more like you go to one side, then the other side, one side, then the other side. That's how your head wobbles. Just imagine this. Walking is generally considered healthy, right? They say it's recommended, you should walk more. But then, with every step, your head wobbling, you're doing this kind of movement. It's like moving your head back and forth, tilting it like this. But you do this so your head doesn't wobble like that, just to somehow keep your balance. Because if your head keeps moving around, if it keeps wobbling like this from side to side, you'll end up falling. So It's to keep you from falling. It tries its best to stay in place while everything else moves. So the head stays in place and everything else moves. It always tries to stay in the center as much as possible. And that's why all these muscles work so hard, back and forth with these tilts. Because there are hundreds of thousands of these movements. Well, maybe not hundreds of thousands, but dozens. You take a lot of steps every day, so just imagine, every time all of this is working, everything hurts, of course it gets tired, it's really hard to do this all the time. The lower back also, you see, adjusts to this. So what can you do? What can be done? Here's what you can do, that's the main idea. You understand that the point is for the arm not to go too far out to the side. Because if the arm goes out to the side like this, then right here, there's more weight on this side for me now, and less here, see? And if it stays like this during each step, if my weight keeps shifting over here, I can move this leg, but I can't move this one anymore. And that's why, as soon as I need to start moving with this leg, I need my hand to be right here now. This hand, right here. And this constant swaying from side to side, this movement, it actually gets in the way of the movement itself. So this constant loss of balance, it requires you to restore your balance. That's why this starts to get tiring and painful. It's not because something got weak and needs strengthening. Of course, you can strengthen these muscles so much that for a while they'll be able to handle all of this, right? All your bends and turns. But it's better if they just don't have to do that. These are the wrong movements for the muscles. So here's a wall. Find a wall somewhere, you probably have one. Stand sideways to it, and at first stand as close to it as possible. So that your shoulder touches the wall right here, like this. And in this position, you position your legs so that you're not leaning against the wall, right? Just barely touching it, and make sure it's not like this, okay? So that you don't fall if the wall is suddenly gone. So your shoulder should just barely touch the wall, but you shouldn't be leaning on it. And here you start moving your arm forward and backward, forward and backward. Your task is this. Here is your torso. Here is the position when your arm is behind, and here is the position when your arm is in front of your hip. And in this exercise, your task is to learn how to move your arm from this back position to the front position, from the back position to the front position. The point of the exercise is that at the moment of this movement, the wall doesn't let you do it like this. It doesn't let you move your arm around the side, so that your arm doesn't end up here because this is a sideways movement. It happens exactly at the moment when your arm moves from the back position to the front position. After a while, it even stops being in the back position. Because it can no longer make this movement, it goes way too far, somewhere over here to the side. So it just hangs in front, right here, and starts to dangle. The legs are running, even like this. They're running, you see, at this angle. Then it's no wonder why your back hurts, right? And so, to fix this, here's your wall, here's your hand, and you start moving your hand. And this way, you get used to your hand gradually moving where it should, without falling forward. From one side, then the other, and then you try to do this movement while stepping. So imagine that there is a wall next to you on the side, and your hand moves along it, and you don't let it fall to the side. Your hand moves, and you don't let it fall to the side. It will be hard to keep track of both the front and back hand right away, right? So at first, just focus on one hand, for example, during each step. Here it goes back, here it goes forward, for example, with the right hand, right? Or you can watch both hands. But since both of them go back, one goes back, now watch this one, right? This one goes back. One goes back, the second goes back. Go ahead, try this exercise.